Hi, namaste. Welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Um, I'll share some personal information. Psychic Frank, moi. I'm going through I'm upgraded. My gift has been upgraded. You'll notice. I'm sure you have noticed. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm starting a whole new numerology. It's a 1 year for me. I'm starting a whole new 1 year. My life's an open book. I don't have no secrets. And I realized I'm not going to spend another moment going crazy, driving myself crazy over things I have no control. For instance, I tell people like this show is being taped live right now. It's Thursday, the 2nd of May, and we're approaching the Saturday morning full moon, new moon, Capricorn, Taurus, Earth. Ooh, I got so much to talk about. That will help you, I hope. So, okay, get this out of the way, Frank. And I always look in the camera and say, okay, every Saturday night, if you live in San Francisco and subscribe to have Comcast, channel 29 at 7:30 p.m. You'll see this show I'm taping right now, and then on Saturday nights at 7:30 you'll see a show I did last month. So I don't know what to do. What you can do is call 415 SF Commons 558-2125, and nice people. Giovanni's a great guy, and just remind them that. Hey, Frank's not making this up, because I tell them all the time, this is time sensitive stuff, and people stop me on the street, and when they have a complaint, it's usually they like to be current. People are really into this. In all humility, though, I'm loving every second of it. I was at Safeway a couple of months ago, and this gentleman around my age, a little older. Okay, he was a little older, and I heard Psychic Frank, and I turned, and he came over with his shopping cart, and I was waiting to be checked out, and he said, Psychic Frank, I didn't like you for a long time, and then I watched one of your shows, and now I'm a devoted fan. And I just warmed my heart. To me, that was like better than any lottery win or any gift anybody. That was a gift, So anyway, and people show me the love all the time, and so if you want to show me the love, and remind them that I'm not losing my mind. People want to see this current stuff. What does it take? A couple of minutes to check the schedule. If you see here, it's got a date. Usually the shows are dated. So today I'm taping this on Thursday the 2nd. So on Saturday, you should see this, if Saturday night. It's like, I'm not saying open a vein and give me some blood, It's just, I want to pay it back, It's like, work with me, people, work with me. Okay, I'm glad I got that out of the way, because I'm not going to even watch the SF Commons schedule anymore, because it's a real buzzkill, It really, and so that's my 1 year resolution is like I'm just gonna let go, and if the people who watch this want to help out and and say well, who knows, maybe from now on it will be, you won't have to. And always be polite. These guys go out of their way. Javon's a really, really nice guy, and I couldn't do a lot of this stuff without him. But as it is, not everybody's as conscientious as him. Let's just leave it there. Okay, Frey, let's close this and move on. So, and I'll be a lot easier to get along with, because it's I don't know why it stressed me out when I looked at that. Okay, let's start off with a joke. Trump's getting into the highest office in the land was like putting Miracle Grow on his character defects. If you're a fan of the show, I'm real big on working on it's a lifelong achievement that ends in mysticism. It's a nice journey, but you have to start working on your character defects sooner or later. In this lifetime or another lifetime. He says, every day we are getting closer to our true selves or further and further away. How many people think this is myself and it's not yourself? we'll get into that in another show. Okay, now I wrote some other stuff like kind of humorous. Donald Trump is a rare one who lights up a room simply by leaving it. I was watching a movie on demand the other day. What was it? It was an old movie. Oscar Wilde. The remake. It was a movie about the life of Oscar Wilde, it was written well. I'm sure of a lot of it. He says about this woman is he says, oh, she is a rare one who lights up a room simply by leaving it. When we assumed, the highest office, it was like putting Miracle Grow on his character defects. If you want to test for character, just give someone power. Give a man power. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. And the other day he got up there and he was going on about what a good looker man he is. It's funny in a way because nobody's my age. I'm over 70, but I remember Bozo the Clown. Who was the one on Howdy Doody show? He looks like that guy. He thinks he's a good looker, though. Without all the spray and the chemicals. And, there's this book out, formerly known as Food, by Kristin Lawless. How the industrial food system is changing our minds, our bodies, and our culture. A stirring call to action, Maud Britton. It just came out. I got it on the new releases shelves at the public library. It's REVELATORY, revelatory. I'm a vegan now, and I do honey. I believe honey's medicine. All food is medicine, and for some reason I love my honey. I can't explain it. It's just my body needs. But, Nazi vegans will say, oh, you're not a vegan. My margins are permeable. I was really not happy to read that a lot of stuff labeled vegan is far from it. Well, it might be technically vegan. I put a bookmark. Oh, here it is. I put a bookmark in here, but it fell out. And it says, foods with emulsifiers. Industrial produced emulsifiers lace our food supply, even organic and natural foods. They are often present in ice cream, soy, milk, almond, yogurt, peanut butter, ketchup, mayonnaise, salad dressing, processed meats, vegan meat products. I was wondering why all of a sudden, it was so easy to be a vegan with these burgers and sausages and oh, no. So today I was shopping and I went to pick up this vegan cream cheese I've been using for the last couple of weeks, and it's really good. I keep on telling people this tastes just like cream cheese, and it's so good for you. And then I picked up a little thing of it this morning. I was at the market, and I saw that it has these things in it. Yeah, it says bread, crackers, cookies, and other snack foods. Some common names for emulsifiers on labels are xanthan gum. I saw that today. Several carotene, polysorbite 80. I saw that this morning. These are things I've been putting in my body. So now, I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm up a creek, but I've got to start really doing a lot more cooking at home. And from scratch, some common names for UGAR gum. Now that sounds innocent enough. It's not many syllables, and I've seen that on everything in my refrigerator that's vegan. That's been in my and soy lecithin. Another one I'm very familiar with these things. So, I'm still processing this. I got this book. I got my hands on this book yesterday, and before I put it down, I just want to hip you to something here about the EPA and this Pruitt character, LMNOP, Scott Pruitt there, the one that's Donald Trump put in charge of the EPA, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, L, M, N, O, Pruitt. How would you spell his name? Well, anyway, he's the one that was against the DEA, and now he's running it, and he's totally. Yeah, well, I'll have this more underlined next time, and we'll get into this. But it's a wonderful book. It's called Formerly Known as Food, because now you pick up a label. I knew that when I was seeing natural, that slipped through the loopholes. So yeah, that's. But you gotta, like, when you get the truth, of course it's gonna hurt. And then first reaction is always going to be, okay. So let's see. Let's get right to this. Oh yeah, here's a funny little story. Then we'll get to the planets. This is a funny book. It's called Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, a collection of Zen and pre-Zen writings. This is a cute little paragraph on soldiers of humanity. Once a division of the Japanese army was engaged in a sham battle, and some of the officers found it necessary to make their headquarters in Gassan's temple. Gassan told his cooks, quote unquote, "Let the officers have the same fare we eat." This made the army angry, as they were used to very differential treatment. One came to Gassan and said, "Who do you think we are? Question mark. We are soldiers, sacrificing our lives for our country." Gaston answered sternly, "Who do you think you are? Who do you think we are?" He says, "We are soldiers of humanity, aiming to save all sentient beings, all feeling sentient beings, all." That's what I am. Spiders, all kinds of everything's a sentient. Anything with life is what I serve. Just the other day, I saw this little. I was in the park, Golden Gate Park, and I saw this little critter trying to get across the sidewalk, and I knew he might get stepped on, so I got a little piece of paper and gave him a lift to the grassy part. Okay, so this is what's going on. Astrologically, the new moon coming up on Saturday morning. Well, when you watch, if this gets aired, which I hope it does, I'm not going to be watching because I'm too much involved. These shows are my babies. And when they don't, like the show I did on the beginning of this month, it's on YouTube, but who knows when that'll get shown again. See, I gotta let go. What part of let go don't you understand, Frank? Okay, so so here in California, 14 degrees, 11 minutes Taurus, 3:46 p.m. Okay, so this is what's going on astrologically. Just as a recap what's going on. Saturn and Pluto are retrograde. Saturn went retrograde the very last day of April 30th, 20 degrees Capricorn, I'll explain. And just a little before that, on the 26th of April, Pluto went retrograde 23. And now, earlier that month of April, on the 11th, Jupiter went retrograde 24 degrees. Jupiter in Sag is wonderful. That happens every 12 years, and it's all about truth, justice, to getting to the bottom of things. So what Pam Youngam says in the April-May issue of 2019, The Mountain Astrologer, following Pluto's example, Saturn, the Lord of Karma, conjoins the South Node in Capricorn. So it's like bookends. They have Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node all in Capricorn. And Saturn in Capricorn alone is all karmic. And the South Node is karmic, where the North Node is dharmic, the practice. Like there's two things you do with karma. You accept with grace, with fortitude, and you carry on, and with gratitude, Be grateful for the good stuff. Be grateful for the bad stuff, because there is no bad, and there is no totally good. Because in every bad, there's a gift. If we only had good times, the happy times wouldn't seem anyway. I'm not, by any means. I guess I am condoning, rough times, because it's through pain we grow. And wow, did I grow! So this is what's going on now. This Uranus is entered into Taurus now. It's back for the 7 years now. So for the next 7 years, we're going to be developing what really starts, because opposite all this Capricorn energy now is the Scorpio. May 4th is the what do you call it? Not opposite, but at the same time that day, we have the planet Uranus and Mercury conjunct, okay, in Taurus. So this is, give me a second here, fixed modality of Earth. This is like so easy now to be grounded, because all of a sudden I have a lot of Taurus in my chart. I have a Taurus rising, Taurus moon, fixed. We have focus now. We have stillness. We have calmness. There is such a dynamic force that flows through Taurus, because the earth energy wants to bring it into practical form. Now, how we're going to focus this energy now is what you want to do. A lot of people are saying plant something symbolic. I thought about that. And then I go to my favorite monastery. It's on the side of Golden Gate Park. It's the Cristo Rey Monastery on Parker. And I don't know if I can get into it. I'm a shaman, and that's a powerful joint. That's a powerful joint right there. I owe a lot to those sisters, I tell you. I like cafeteria, Catholic, Buddhist, Hindu, take the rest, leave the BS. So I had to get there, that's where I go to. It's my, it doesn't need to be a secret place. It's the Cristo Rey Chapel here, and they have the cloistered nuns, and I listen to them sing to God. And it does something to me. So, and then I walk into Golden Gate Park. Now, I haven't been there since my friend Aaron got married over almost 2 decades ago, 15 years ago or something. And I'm ashamed to say, I've been going there. I've been going into the park, and I hadn't been there in so long. And they've put a lot of money into Golden Gate Park, and there's now an AIDS memorial with all these little grottos, peaceful, where you could sit and read and not see another soul, and it's, so I went back the next day, and it's my regular thing now. Every morning and I was wondering, why am I so centered? Close your eyes, summon your strength, believe. And I was getting like really grounded. And then, being a healer, who came into being with, my healing teeth, so to speak, during the height of the AIDS epidemic. So many brothers of mine, of all colors, passed on with these years ago. When I first moved where I am now 30 years ago, this was who I was. You see, there's like a hand here with the fire coming out of it, and I had just moved into where I am now, and it's called Transformational Healing and Guidance by, and then I wrote a heart with Om, and then my name, Frank Melanero, and there's my phone number. I've had this phone number for over 30 years, and then it says astrology, numerology, psychic readings, and then tarot in parentheses. And then something happened. I got involved in the cannabis movement, and then I sort of like became Psychic Frank, and got into this parlor trick kind of thing, and sort of lost my way, but Uranus is the awakener. And it takes 84 years to go around the wheel. So Uranus hasn't been in Taurus now for a lot of us. Unless you're 84, um, you probably haven't had a well, you've had transits of Uranus, obviously, but Uranus, as I said, for Taurus now, and Scorpio, the opposite of Taurus. So keep your margins very permeable. If you want to make God laugh, tell your plans. This new moon, and remember, Jah will for you is better than anything you could ever want for yourself. This new moon in Taurus. Oh, so I was on the side of the greenhouse, uh, and. And there was a plant they had put a lot of effort into, and it had been growing for obviously a few. They grow slowly, but it was a seedling palm tree, and I could tell, because I used to I used to live right up the street from Golden Gate Park with the asthmatic heiress. We had a house up there, and I walked my dog, and I know every nook and cranny of that park. And when I dried out and went into rehab, I ended up living right near Golden Gate Park in '82, right near St. Mary's Hospital, and I spent every day. So the park to me is my new go-to place, especially now. See, because this new moon in Taurus is anchoring this Taurus Uranus energy developing for the next 7 years. Powerful stillness. See, that's the paradox, because I believe when you pray, your feet should be moving. I don't believe you're just sitting around mumbling. Excuse me. But as I said, I was in this grotto. And then years ago, when my dog was close to death, my friend and I would drive our dogs, and Zoe was a lot younger than Chelsea, and we would take our dogs around Stowe Lake at least twice, 3 times a week. Um, and then those Chelsea got too old to go around the park, and I said to Ari, we're just going to sit here by the side of the pond. And it was like a few months after that, I had to call someone and have Chelsea put down. But she was still, she was okay as far as, but she couldn't take a long walk around Snow Lake. And then this heron bird, egret, these very still birds, and it just came with these long legs and these very prehistoric-looking bird, and it just sat there with us for like a good 40 minutes and didn't move. And I was just sitting there. I guess I was smoking a little. I don't think I ever not somewhere where I'm not smoking a little. Weed, of course. If you don't know Psychic Frank, I'm a real cannabis supporter. It's I'm being true to my endocannabinoid system. Watch the show; it's on YouTube. I did last time. Okay, so the other day when I was having all this amazing days in Golden Gate Park, I was walking through Hippie Hill. I was going around the same circle, and I kept on seeing this dinosaur and these kids playing around it, and I thought that's cute. And then I saw it the second time, and then the third time I realized, oh, I'm going in a circle. So that's when I decided to go another way. And that's when I spotted this heron. Just at first I thought it was a statue, because it was a long field, and it was just, and I got right near it, and I was just staring right at it. It was so still. Oh, nature's, and the rhythm. That's the thing, First there was the beat. They have these things on YouTube, but first they x-ray the egg. First there's the beat, and then the heart forms. The beat goes on. First there was the beat. It calms our cells and allows us to focus without rush. Surrendering to a steady current of relaxed energy, not pressured, not rushing, but moving into the beautiful rhythms of the earth, which is connected to that peace and stillness. Oh, and then so they say you should plant a seed and then watch it grow over the next 7 years. When I saw that that baby palm tree now, so for the next 7 years, I have a psychically adopted. That's my psychic adopted. And I know it's right on the side of the greenhouse, the beautiful greenhouse on FDR Drive, and and I could see it was probably planted a year or so ago, but it's taken. It's growing, and I've adopted that. But all over, there's seedlings, all patches. They're putting a lot of money, God bless them, into Golden Gate Park. So it'd be nice watching all these things blue. But remember now, for the next 7 years, this is going to get more developed, and so. Good luck with that. Yeah, the first 8 days of May is a never give up. This is a kind of mindset for determination and perseverance because Mercury and Uranus and Taurus now. I like what they say here. The following the Pluto's example, Saturn, the lord of karma, conjoins the South Node, which is all about karma on April 30th. This alignment repeats on July 4th and September 27th, 2019. Chickens come home to roost with this aspect. The repercussions of our actions or inactions can no longer be ignored. Whatever Pluto has revealed, Saturn brings into sharp focus. So even as the Saturn-Pluto ship hoists to scale, the South Node in April exposes even more of the mechanisms of those in power who have yet to learn the lessons of the heart. We've got some hard-hearted, cold-hearted people. These people who are, the bootlickers, like Leslie. What's his name? He's sort of asexual, really, that Graham person, Leslie Graham. He says, my guys tell me he was a turncoat during the Revolutionary War, and he's totally a hypocrite. And then this bar, I was listening to, the album, the Rolling Stones album, Aftermath. Yeah, if you know me, I've been watching my show. I have a totally different relationship to math. And it's the Rolling Stones had "Baby, Baby, Baby, You're Out of Time." Yeah, I was watching them talk about Trump, and I realized that song was going through my head. "Baby, baby, baby, you're out of time. You're out of touch." Yeah, these people are out of time. They're out of time. Literally, they're out of time because get out of the way because times are changing, as Bobby Dylan said there. Okay, so that's the whole thing now. It calms the cells. Just thinking about it makes my kundalini tingle. This is the kind of mindset for determined. So, and then, Venus enters Taurus in the middle of the month on the 15th. Isn't that beautiful? That's for 3 weeks. And then on the 16th, Mars enters Cancer and gets out of Aries. Well, Mars is going to be out of bounds until September. That's why we're seeing people mouth off so much. That's going to calm down a little when Mars leaves Aries, Gemini rather, and goes into goes into Cancer. I think what's going to happen, because remember, Trump wouldn't be in office right now. The whole thing that nobody saw happened early in the morning on election day, in the wee hours of the morning on early election day on 2016. Mars entered Aquarius. Keep that in mind during everything that's going on. So everything's all about Mars. So when Mars enters Cancer, this is all about unseen forces, higher octaves, celestial beings enforcing, and working in our lives. We are to co-create with the divine. Okay, so we heard that little Zen story. Talk about this quiet. He says, Brother David, whatever, somebody, reminds us of the, I talked about that. We talked about this last week, but it's worth reminding us because we're talking about stillness and quiet. When we make ourselves so busy that we are always rushing around trying to get this or that done or over with, we forget the journey is the destination. Are you having fun yet? Or we kill something vital in ourselves and we smother the quiet wisdom of our heart. Remember, I said, don't do that. Don't smother the quiet wisdom of our heart. When we invest our work with judgment and impatience, always striving for speed and efficiency, we lose the capacity to appreciate the million quiet moments that may bring us peace, beauty, and joy. We seek salvation through our fanatic productivity and accomplishments. We squander thinking it's going to make us less vulnerable. Until, oh God, Bernie Bree there, I want to talk about her. Look her up now. I have a lot of quotes of her, and she's all about accepting our vulnerability is not a bad thing, is actually the human condition, yeah. Better one handful of quiet than two hands full of striving after wind. Remember, if you don't take some time out for some kind of form of prayer and meditation or quiet, you'll have a lot of time for sickness and misery to do that with, So, just take a moment to just quiet those wild stallions. This is an amazing book, Practicing Presence. And I thought just the reviews on the back of the book by Carrie Walters. He doesn't have much on YouTube. He's still teaching and he does lectures. If I ever get my mystery school off the ground, I would pay for this guy first class to fly here from wherever he is to just hip you guys to what, he's just an amazing, one of the most brilliant men. And he came into my life right around 9/11. And some of my friends, my intellectual friends like Kathy Acker, aren't here anymore. They came in. She only lived 50 years. She wrote erotic fiction. We were like that. We were very close. In clear writing that makes the rich Christian tradition and draws from literature and poetry, Practicing Presence shows us how to integrate care into our daily lives, grow in self-awareness and compassion, care for others, and from a deep union with God. Care is much more than a way of treating others. It's the key to fulfillment. Then he says, Practicing Presence. Carrie Walters is a delightful companion for spiritual seekers, offering wisdom, healing, and integration. The author invites us to become holy by attentiveness to the small things in life, like Saint Teresa of whatever. Not Mother Teresa there. This is the one from France. We can discover that the path of genuine caring leads us to the arms of God. And while we're on the subject, he talks about Dionysus, the Areopagite. Yeah, I find out I'm Greek. I've got some Greek blood in me. Yeah, just found that there's no Italian in my DNA. For years I was adopted. People convinced me I was Italian. And thank God I had my grandparents. The first four years of your life, I'm going to make you and break you. And everything good in me came from those first couple of years after my adopted parents dumped me with my grandparents because they were running some kind of a business. And in those few years they had me, taught me so much that today I live. It's how I do. We'll have to talk about that because they reminded me that there's this fuzzy part. Quantum physics. They knew about quantum physics long before they were practicing quantum physics long before everybody else. Because there's this fuzziness in life that they respected that science didn't. And I've had like 70 years to chew on that. So I digress, I guess. Okay, so Dionysus said, the completely lit light is invisible. That which is greatly celebrated and many named is ineffable and nameless. That which is present in all and discoverable from all is incomprehensible, inscrutable, hard to grasp. I love that. Master Eckhart once shocked his, because people will say, what was your out-of-body experiences like? It's like, I wouldn't even, I did attempt to, and then I realized, what am I doing here? So I'm easily, I don't know, I came in, people are fascinating, and it was easy to, turn into a parlor trick kind of psychic for a while, because I was still, warm bodies, people that just practice on. But now things are altogether different, you know. The tendency to reduce God to an object of scrutiny is on par with our alienation mutation of the self into a me thing and our brothers and sisters into crowded and teacupped other things. It's one of the symptoms of a hardened heart that fearfully refuses to make itself available, but is not an inevitability. For when the sword word opens the heart to reveal the dialogue, whatever, whatever, it's a Greek word, we become aware of the great truth that we've carried with us all along, but somehow suppressed along the way. God is the indefinable and mysterious being that beckons us toward being. God is not a thing to be conceptually observed and imaginarily pictured, but a presence who is connaturally experienced heart to heart. And that presence is a paradox, brilliantly meditate, yet immediate, yet darkly hidden, contemporaneously personal, while at the same time inscrutably transcendent, felt but unspeakable, fantastic, intimate, but also frighteningly awesome. Frighteningly awesome. I tell you, there's nothing like holy terror when you get these moments, you know. And so many people, you know, well, as I said, you try to capture these moments, and they're not meant to be captured, but they strengthen your kundalini, you know. Your kundalini goes up from the base of your spine to the crown, you know. It's the two snakes go up the kundalini, Ida and the Pingala, and they intertwine as they go up the kundalini. But if they go up too fast, your hair turns into Medusa stakes and you go crazy. There's a fine line between insanity and enlightenment. So every time you get one of these contemporary mystical experiences that totally blows you away, remind yourself your kundalini's just moved up a little notch. Just savor it. You love a flower in every little phase of its growth. And then the leaves. I always say the blossoms. In earlier chapters, we saw that the first step toward genuine caring is unlearning confused ideas about the self and others. We discovered that when we hearken to our hearts, the core that constitutes our true identity is disclosed. Yeah. Core is a Greek word that means open space. It's sometimes used by ancient Hellenites to refer to the marketplace or public square. But behind this rather pedestrian meaning lies one of the great significance. Commonplace word remembered often have deep meanings embedded within them. The almost forgotten sense of Khora, Khora, especially intrigued Plato, and we may turn to him and for a deeper appreciation of it. At one point in his dialogue, Timaeus, Plato discusses three realms of reality. The first is sensible, the order of material objects perceived through the senses. The second is intelligible, the class of concepts known by reason. Objects in the first realm change through time, while objects in the second realm always the same. A geometrical axiom. Yeah. Okay, one more little sense out of here about what Plato calls Khora, the divine presence, is that incomprehensible and formless reality that caring generates and nurtures. So every time I show caring for nature, like picking cigarette butts up out of the curbs, from the curb to the creek, or it was so refreshing to walk around Golden Gate Park. I started last Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm here today. I didn't have time to do it, and tomorrow I'll be uploading the show. But I expect on weekends it's too crowded. But I'm going to make that's my new. If you want me, I'll be in Golden Gate Park from 11 to 2. That's my plan. I'm just loving it. I'm having these amazing experiences there that. I'm loving. When Eckhart tells us to forsake God in order to find God, and when this guy recommends that we do well to throw away the conventional word God, if we find it a stumbling block, They're operating from an intuition of the core of nothingness and divine presence. Their advice may be shocking to those who think of God as an object, but it's hardly blasphemous, nor do we discover shortly it's unbiblical, for Scripture consistently tells us that divine presence, even when it reveals itself, does so mysteriously. Um, if we would learn to care genuinely for God, we must drop our fidelity to the God thinking and become present to and for the ultimately unknowable Korah. In fact, the point can be safely put in even stronger language. Caring well and truly for God is always a confession of agnosticism, while misguidedly focusing on God as a thing is in effect a form of atheism. Well, that's a little heavy there. Well, I'm sorry if the heart finds that it finds itself unable to open up to God for the Scripture because he suffers from what might be called habitual piety. As I suggested in the preceding section, this alienation is really an atheism, a bet all disguised, a better disguise, and hence especially insidious kind. A person who has fallen into thinks that she's a genuine God believer, but in fact she isn't. On the contrary, her misguided transformation of God into an idol thing is as much a rejection of God as the student's disbelief of conventionality associated with the word atheism. Embrace, God takes many forms. For Sylvia Browne, who really influenced my life, had this, if anybody who knows Sylvia Browne, and she's passed on now, she was this psychic who was pretty good, I thought, and she had this, Francine was her spirit guide, and she had her from a young imaginary friend and blah. And I always thought I was going to have eventually, when I reached this space of achievement as a psychic, that I would have a guide that I would give a name to, and he would be like my little buddy, and I could talk about him the way Sylvia Browne used to talk about. And my guides really hit me to that a couple of weeks ago. I had this revelation that, no, Frank, you're it. You got your own back. Shakespeare said, we know not what we are, but we know not what we may be. So with Saturn's retrograde now, Saturn, all this Capricorn energy, there's no lack of discipline. But the thing now is you want to use this Jupiter and Sag retrograde now to ask yourself, am I having fun yet? With this fixed energy, we have focus. Use it. And then I wanted to talk about the Awakener. This is Bernie Brown, B-E-R, and then she has a slash over the second E, and it's she talks about caution. This is her book. It's really learning from purpose. She talks a lot about being vulnerable. She's doing a lot of TV work now. I've seen her on a lot of good morning shows. I surf the channels and I see a lot of her. This is a book about purpose. Do this work and it will change the way you live, love, parent, and lead. However, you will not be able to forget, block, or unlearn your purpose. And trying to walk away from the reason you're here on this earth may cause anxiety, resentment, confusion, self-doubt, and persistent low-grade feelings of what in the hell am I doing? Once you live your purpose, you can't unlive it. See, that's what I tried to do for a while. I had this out-of-body experience, and I was all about transformational stuff. But that's too heavy for a lot of people. Well, now I'm back there. Yeah, because I realized this is why I'm here. If you don't want to go through this, if you want some help transformation, well, if you're watching now, yeah. It's happening now. So now's important to remind yourself it's working. My mentor, Louise Hay, used to say when she works with people and then she sees them a month or two later and has everything and she goes, same old, same old. Under her breath as she walked away, she would say to herself, I just didn't take. Oh, well. But if she saw these people a week or two later and they said, oh my God, I lost my job, or my dog died, or whatever, she'd say, "Oh well, it's working. Let's talk, let's see what's So, but we got this feeling like anything, avoid anything except total pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. That's why obesity. People want to have a party in their mouth all the time. So if you got a girlfriend or boyfriend who says, "Oh, it's the summer. Let's donate to this million-person march for cancer," tell them, what's the matter, you? No, let's go to the food. Let's go let's go to the state building let's protest. They're poisoning our food. Let's get to the homes. These people who are poisoning our food are zillionaires. They've got addresses and names. Let's get to these people. We're not helpless. Like, as I said, I'm not going to spend the next 7 years with all this Taurus energy being the BAVAC, SF Commons police, and be called Cranky Frankie. Hey, I'm doing the best I can. I just want you to know, if you're not seeing this show, any of my new shows, if you turn it on expecting to see something new and you see something I did like weeks and weeks ago, call that number. Call them and say to them, it's 558-2125-415, and say, what's the matter, you? People like intellectual snobs would always say, well, I went to this college, and then they look at me, and I would always give the old Bullwinkle and Rocky thing, he graduated from what's the matter, you? So I love what Bernie says here, because this we keep on avoiding, and the more we don't accept the human condition, we're born vulnerable, and then we try to scapegoat or somehow, I don't know, thinking that somehow money's always a scapegoat, either a lack of it or too much of it. Money's just a vehicle. It's not an evil substance. And it shouldn't be hoarded by the zillionaires. Okay, so all this energy now with the Saturn, Pluto, 2023 degrees Capricorn is all happening around our Pluto in the money house in opposition to our North Node in Leo. And then we have the Cancer is 24 degrees in 2022, when Saturn and Pluto conjunct in Aquarius, that North Node in Leo will light up. And that's when we'll have the new order. In the meantime, what's being deconstructed to be reconstructed. And, these boot-licking, they were saying, you remember what was it, last year, there was this on the news, they had all those people sitting around the table with Donald Trump literally saying, "It is so wonderful to breathe the same air of you exalted." This is like Banana Republic buttering up to this pathetic, villainous. It's got a face only a mother could love on payday. He's let's do a few cards. Let's see what we get here now. Okay, so this is the last. The beginning of May now. So the next big thing coming up is on the blue moon, 27 degrees Scorpio. So the sun will be 27 degrees Taurus, and the moon will be. We're going to talk about that because I'll be here on the 16th, God willing. I'm here the 1st and the 3rd. That's another good thing if you're looking at a show and you can see, if it's done. These shows are dated, I believe. Okay, so let's see what my viewing public. Yeah, so it's real easy now to just close your eyes, summon your strength, drop your grounding cord, and believe. I am surrounded by the love and light of my Creator. Let's see what my the planets don't make things happen. They simply reflect what's going on. So right now, I love the senator for the congresswoman from Hawaii. She really laid it into Barr the other day. And this Outer Bounds. If you're interested in that, you could Google up Outer Bounds Mars. There's a lot to read about it. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, Jupiter's, what do they say, is all about justice. What do they say? Just us. No, it's not just us. Well, it really is just us. At the end of the day, when all is said and done. What are we afraid to, what do I we'll put off the revolution there? So we're afraid to lose the few scraps they're throwing our way? Oh, thank you. Can I have some more? These corporations have taken over this city. And I gotta admit, I've been thinking about say something nice about our mayor, London Breed. Yeah, you don't like her. She looks good on the money. Unfortunately, she's got some bad karma going on, and my advice to her was straighten up and fly right, or you're gonna have this. Many mayors now are going to jail. FBI is getting, Ed Lee was almost in jail. Didn't he die in the middle of an FBI investigation? Oh, God. London Breed, man. We got to get her out of office ASAP and get somebody in there who's going to not walk out of the room when we're sitting wanting their ear. That's a slap in the face. Oh, yeah. If you didn't watch my last show, it's all about the cannabinoid endocrine system. It's just been discovered a decade or so ago, and it just validates that magic flower cannabis is medicine, and it's a cure for cancer, and it's harm reduction is the way. Okay, yes, right now most people are very hanging on to that nickel till it grins, hang on to that dollar till the eagle grins. Yes, this full moon now is a real turning point. This is an emotional reset button now. Whatever stirred up a lot goes away real fast. Beautiful card to be now. Wake up, get that bug out of your butt. No one else can do it for you. Smooth sailing ahead. Swiftness now. Yes. Yes, we're going through a dark night of the soul. I'm not denying that. We're going through it to learn something. Not trivial, not condoning it, but we're waking up now. We're going through a birth, awakening. And yes, when we get the truth, it's always hard. At first it hurts. Truth hurts. Okay, my friends, I love you. Namaste. Hey, little monkeys. Well, I had fun. Hey.
How have you been?
Good.